We are live.
How are you, D? How are you? It's been a while.
It has been, man. How you doing? I'm doing good. How about you?
Very good. Today we're gonna just talk about the economy. We're gonna talk about is the new economy still a thing, right?
Right?
And some of the questions that we constantly are seeing is like, what are people doing? Like, why is it that there's so many places for hire and no employees? And I know that we have some real intel on that and then some spec, but
Wait, it's funny. It's interesting you say that because when we were up at the Buffalo Mall on Tuesday, every store in that mall had a part time, full time, help wanted sign in their windows.
isn't
I
that
mean,
something?
95% of them, I bet.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily like, wow, the economy's doing so great that there's just so many jobs. It's they need them, because there's like so little people willing to take those jobs. That's the
Right?
problem.
Right?
So, what do I mean by that? When I was talking to a retailer and one was a restaurant owner, they said typically we're actually lower than we would have been years ago. So we obviously are looking for employees, but we have so few employees. So if it was in a normal economy and employees, they had normal amount of employees, they might actually be laying off right now. And I'm like, well, that kind of doesn't make sense. She goes, well, think about it. We're down, but we're even further down with the employees needed to even take care of what we got.
No,
So it made a lot of sense.
that's actually a good point because usually this is the time that seasonal help starts dwindling down,
Yeah.
and you're just not seeing it this time around.
Let me ask you this. Do you ever talk to people that normally would be fulfilling these jobs and saying why, what changed?
I no, I mean, no, I haven't, but I've actually been wondering that, and I've actually asked that question to a couple other people. Not the ones actually fulfilling a job, and I haven't got a great answer.
Well, I've got some.
Okay, good.
Number one, you got to go back pre-pandemic, right?
Right.
So 2019, we already saw, a shift for remote working. But man, when 2020 hit, you know, places like Indeed and ZipRecruiter, and we're investors with Jubilant Careers, it went through the roof. Why? Because of remote working. People were at home because pandemic, they had to be. And some companies decided that that's the way they're just going to stay. Right.
Right.
Well, then those companies had to find workers willing to do remote working. And there was this movement of remote working. So I will tell you this, there's a couple things that happened during the whole recession. I'm sorry, the virus.
Yeah. The pandemic, COVID,
the
whatever you want to
pandemic.
call it. Yeah.
What happened was, unfortunately, some people were getting money, stimulus money, and it allowed them to realize what living was really like. They realized that they wanted that lifestyle. Like they were able to live outside and do things and not necessarily go places. We couldn't do that, but it gave them a different perspective. Some loved being with their family and what have you. So it just gave them a different perspective. The other was some of the people that I was talking to, they didn't feel appreciated. So they wanted to feel more appreciated, meaning they had a job. I can't say the name of the place, but they said it was a hostile like environment. The chef was horrible. Like everyone was like just yelled all the time. The owners were horrible to them. And they would make a comment, well, if you can't come in tomorrow, we can always find somebody who will take your job. And they just didn't feel appreciated. And this was in the Bemis area. So, pretty busy during the summer. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Like, no, this is not a good environment. Not this particular place was not good to work with. And then ironically, now that they're open, past the pandemic, now all of a sudden they're begging people to work. No, people are not knocking down the door to want to work and take that job. And then she's made a comment. She says, Tim, by the time it's called tipping out. So
Right.
the tips are shared. A lot of people don't realize when you tip somebody, they themselves don't get to keep all that. It gets shared, which I don't think is good, because the person that might not be doing a great job gets the same amount of money as the person that was really taking care of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I don't think it should be. Now, should they give a percentage back to the kitchen? Yeah, especially if the meals are being served on time, makes them look good.
And a bartender, if they're having a great cocktail, I can understand that, because
Yep. That I would understand as well. Or the bartender tips them. This is not a strategy on this, but I'm just coming back to the why. So you got remote working, and we're going to showcase something. Have you ever heard about.me?
No.
So about.me is no different than somebody like you and I that created. Ironically, I've always knew there was a big need for this. We have something similar, but about.me, all it is a very simple website that is about you, right? So anybody. So whatever your name.com would be, right? Like my name.com. So what it is it's just a really simple landing page that when people need to learn more about you, that's where they can go. So let's say you're an author, a speaker, whatever. You at least have something up, and, it's very inexpensive. Well, get this. Guess what their exit was? And for those that are watching, an exit is this. And we're going to talk about this a lot because we're going through it as well with some of our products. But what an exit is, you create a product or a business, and then eventually that product or business gets purchased, right? It's called an exit. You're going to exit the business. So for anyone that's watching, you got to always have that in mind. Like if you're going to start a business like you with Loud, someday you may sell that. Now, is it sellable though, right? Some businesses can sell for a lot. Some businesses, as you know, here locally, there was somebody in your industry. I don't think he ever sold it.
Right. He never did.
And I know that there's some dentists and some people that have like law firms, and they're like, and these are people that I was talking to that said, oh no, it's not worth anything. I said, yes, it is. If you have a clientele, it's worth something. If you have subscribers, it's worth something. There's always a value for a business depending on your customer base. So you just have to grow your customer base. But here, so get this, about.me sold for 35 million. That was their exit. Now, I don't know if it was all cash, partially stock. I don't know the whole detail. We'll probably talk more about it on the next one, because we have one more that we want to, every week we want to spotlight what it took for a company to be formed and then what their exit was. Some companies are purchased within a year. Some companies it's 5, 10, 15 years later.
Right.
But we're starting to see more and more now, 6 months. Like
which is crazy.
They have this big growth, and then a company sees that that's a good fit for them and they would want to buy it. Beam.com, which was Casey. Hey, by the way, Casey Neistat back in New York City. Here's another person that moved to California. He's a creator. He's a content creator first, like mini movies, stuff like that. But he's also a product guy now. So big on brand. He himself is the brand. But he created this product called Beam. And what it was, it kind of makes you go live, no filters, no editing. What you see is what you get. And it had to be held close to you or it wouldn't work. Personally, I didn't see a need for it, but at the end of the day, it got purchased by CNN for 35 million, but it had to have him with it. He realized he didn't like working a Thai environment, said, hey, after like weeks and weeks of being there, didn't really like the corporate setting. What do I need to do to get out of this? Like, I just don't want to, I don't want a job. And they brought it down to like 25 million, still a pretty decent payday. And they got his team and they got Beam, and there's probably more details to that. But you know, there's people that are probably thinking or asking, why would a company pay like for about.me so much money? Or let's say you're a big company like Facebook, for instance. Why would they buy Instagram? A lot of people think that Facebook just owns Instagram. No, they purchased it. That was somebody created Instagram and Facebook purchased it because it's billions out of this shoot for a lot of these companies, or millions.
Right. Well, and a lot of times too is companies that can do it. If they see it as competition, why not own it?
Yes. It knocked out the competition. Now they get the revenue.
Right.
It's also it's a way to acquire customers. So if there's a company right now, let's say, maybe you're a company out there that's like, I have this, matter of fact, you're working with somebody right now that's looking to grow. And maybe by owning a SaaS system, that software as a service, or maybe you're going to develop something, you're going to develop an app system that could be a huge difference in capital in additional income stream to the company. Right. And for those that have a lot of money, some companies are doing extremely well. By purchasing that, now they get to offer it to their customers that they have. And then the customers that were on that platform get all of the things that they have within their wheelhouse. And you can see what can happen with that.
Right.
One was an actual, I forget the name of it, but it was a launch. They purchased the product. Let's just use BedLocker, for instance. If there's a company out there that's a training facility and you're using Wistia or you're using something else, you're paying third-party money for that, right? They don't own it. You're paying for that. You got to embed it within your organization. It may or may not lock down the video, meaning the video now could be stolen. But if you're an organization that said, hey, wait a minute, we're a training organization and we have trainers that train, right? So it's like teachers within, kind of like Udemy, right?
Right.
And what if we purchased our own CDN or video hosting company and we offered that as a service? Can you imagine if they had 50,000 users or 100,000 users? They now have a product that they can offer, because you always have to have offers. You have to have product, right?
Right.
You got to have it. And if you have one product, you should have 3 or 4 behind it. But the bottom line is this. If you just take, 50,000 and the conversion rate on something like that, the conversion rate would probably be pretty darn good, but I would just bring it down to even, let's just go 9%. You would have 4,500 active users saying, yeah, we definitely would want that. And depending on the amount that you're looking at, an additional $435,000 per month revenue coming into their company. So yeah, of course they're going to spend millions for these things, because if you know what you're doing, it's instant revenue to the company once it's been acquired. Okay. Now, how does this happen? Like, sometimes it is all cash. I know somebody that just recently was acquired and he's sitting on like 180 million. Like, that's incredible, but that is the new way today. That's the new economy. And some people are going to be left in the dust. What do I mean by that? And I'm not a hater of any of this stuff, but I will tell you this, the day and age of you possibly getting a will done, you're just going into a law firm. I think there's benefits of that. But if they don't start adapting to the whole, internet methods, you're going to be left in the dust. Okay. More and more people are getting their wills done online. More and more people are getting insurance online. Do you actually have an insurance guy? Like, you walk in? Okay.
Well, he actually comes to me, but yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good, because that's service.
Right.
But there's a lot of people now, no, I get mine online. Like they just make a call or they whatever. Now they still need brokers, right? So
Right.
there's still people that are licensed that do these things, like Geico, for instance. You know, there's not really a Geico rep that I know of here. And get this one, I know of a Geico rep that got licensed. It's remote work, and she makes over $100,000 a year. This is why some of these jobs aren't being fulfilled. These online jobs are paying so much more, and that's why. And then there's the freedom, right, that come with it.
Right.
But yeah, so you got to move with the time. So remote is big right now, and obviously anything software. So right now you're starting to see more and more internet entrepreneurs or SaaS entrepreneurs now than ever. And you don't even need to know how to write code. That is the biggest myth out there that, well, I don't know how to write software. I don't know how to write code. Software as a service. Isn't that software online like Facebook? Yes. But if you can hire teams that build them for you. We know ClickFunnels, and Russell Brunson had no idea how to build that stuff. He found the team to do it and found a partner. Okay. But you could definitely do that. But yeah, so About.me looks very basic, $35 million exit. So the new economy is this. The new economy is product creation. You got more and more, and we're going to spotlight a lot of them. Okay. More and more of them that are making 6-7 figure income off of Etsy. Like what? Like I thought that was like a cute where you sell cupcakes. You know, seriously, I did not know that there are $1 million brands being built. They start out there and then they grow into their own thing. But at the end of the day, even, you know, Shopify, there's multiple millionaires that understand it, that are using a platform of some sort. Okay. And then eventually they can create their own. But yeah, that's the deal. So About.me, $35 million exit. You just got to think of what do you have? What can you create that people need out there? The app industry is it saturated? Not really. Like there's a lot of apps. It really just comes down to what you have and what problem you're solving.
Right. Because there's killer stuff being developed every day. You know, there's a ton of apps out there, but if you have a great idea and a great product, it can still do very well.
Yeah. And I brought it up before, but I'm going to do it again. It's, have you ever heard of a mic called a Zoom mic?
No.
Okay. So it's a shotgun mic. It's incredible. But not only is it a shotgun mic, but it actually records. It's a recorder. Okay. It's called a Zoom mic, just like the Zoom. And there are people that are making 6-figure, 7-figure incomes by recording sounds. So to give you an example of this, well, it's a different method, but we brought it up once before, and I like using it because it makes you really think. But it's called Calm. So it's an app called Calm. Have you ever heard of Calm?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Do you use it?
No.
I don't either. I've heard of some people saying they love it. There are some people that they literally just can't get to sleep unless they hear sounds.
Some people need background noise to sleep.
Yeah. So there's the idea with the Zoom mic. You have the Calm, that what it really is, it's kind of like meditation type things. It does exactly what it tells you that it does. It helps calm you. Some people can't sleep without it. Some of it's meditative, right? It is I believe $1 billion. We'll get the numbers for next time, but literally they've done hundreds of millions of dollars with this app. Now, what would it take to code an app like that? What would it cost to make an app literally similar to that? Less than $5,000. For something like that, less than $5,000. An app that does a lot of different wizardry stuff and taking money. Like there are some apps that take a lot and could possibly cost, tens of thousands to create. But an app like that would not cost much to create it. So if somebody was really creative and they had that calm idea, but in a different industry or a different method. Like there are some people that, once again, sounds. So if you have this recorder, you can literally sound, like my property, the birds in the morning are incredible. People want to hear that, or a stream or airplane sound. So the next time you're on an airplane, you just whip out that Zoom and you record it, right? It's that easy. Then you loop it. It's got to be on a loop. And before you know it, you just created a product. Like seriously, and people will download these. The hook usually is you download it for free. And then if you want to get rid of the ads, you pay a price. Okay. Right. And Calm is cheap. And it's still a multi-$100 million company. Crazy. I believe they had an exit on it as well. We'll report on that. But I will tell you the new economy right now is obviously anything online. That's where what's your feeling about digital currency?
I mean, I you know, you're not going to fight it. I mean, I think it's something that's going to be even more prevalent down the road. Why not? Honestly.
Yeah, it's. I think we're all being taught that, you know, just using your own cards, it's still digital.
Right. Well,
exactly. I mean, it's not necessarily Bitcoin, right, but it's still digital. So digital is digital.
Or your phone that you scan. I mean, like, yeah, what's the difference? You know what I mean? So
if I was to PayPal you money, do you think that money actually got onto a truck and it went to your bank?
Right. No.
So who knows how all of this is working the right way, but at the end of the day, it's all digital anyway. So why not have a digital currency? Now, is it going to be a new method of theft? Yeah, obviously, you know, there's so the industries that are going to flourish, they already are, but even more so is anything security of your own financial data, to your websites, to your whatever, like everything security is that's going to be, it is, but it's even going to be bigger here in the next 2 to 5 years. So yeah, but yet, so with like Bitcoin and stuff, now the government's trying to come out with their own. I don't know if you saw that in the news.
No.
Yeah, they're trying to, you know, they're flirting with it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I did notice it. I read the article. I think they're a ways away from it, but they're wanting to have a way to control like Bitcoin and.
Oh, well, that's the whole thing. They need a way to control it so they can tax it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because it's really hard. The other thing about digital currency is that now everyone is tracked at that point. See, liquid capital, like those restaurants and businesses that are cash only, you're going to see that they're going to get audited a lot. Okay. That I'll guarantee it. Okay. That they're going to get audited. Okay. More often than ever. Cash can be hidden. What can't be is once it's digital, right? So once we go to that platform and I see where we're going to it, everyone's got to pay their taxes. Like there's no way of hiding money anymore. I don't see any method of doing that. Even PayPal now, I don't know if you knew this, but PayPal, if it's over $600, they have to report it to the IRS. So for those of you that are watching this, if you're Venmoing people, if you're PayPaling people, and if it wasn't a real business transaction, make sure you are using the friends and family, because that doesn't get reported, because that's not a business transaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everything else does. Just make sure when you're doing your taxes, I'm not a tax pro. Make sure you go with your, consult with your tax pro, but make sure that it aligns with what's being reported to the IRS. But that's pretty much it. Right now, remote working, I think, is the main cause. And then of course, the ones that are becoming entrepreneurial, they're doing their own thing right now. Some of them have actually got into real estate. Some of them are flipping property, but at the end of the day, they got a taste of what it's like to be an entrepreneur, and they went that way. Even if it's remote working, it still feels that way, because you're working on your own time for the most part, especially if it's freelancing. And that's the other part is freelancers. Freelancers, you're really good at a skill, you can get hired today. For those of you, quick little plug, Linkboard. You have a skill, Linkboard with an LY if you put it into the thing or into the comments. If you have a skill, you can share those skills and get paid for those skills. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're really good at editing video. There's a ton of people that need that done. Okay. You're really good at editing photos or making logos. Once again, there is a huge market for that. And there's a lot of platforms that you can plug into, one of which is just Linkboard alone, linkboard.com. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Next week, we're going back to the morning and Wednesday. So I love that.
I love that too.
And then we have Biz Morning that for those that want to get tips, usually anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes is the podcast, and it's designed to give you tips to keep you going. You'll learn more soon in Linkboard or Link Boss, the group. For those of you that have not joined, make sure you join the group. A lot more is going to happen now. September is almost gone. These are the best months of the year, and you got to tap into it, and we're going to help you with that for those of you who are going pro. We got some comments, I believe, unless they're just hellos.
Yep. Good afternoons and hello.
Yeah. Tom, yes, absolutely. Let's say credit for you. Yep. There's no way. Listen, my feeling is about this whole tracking thing. Just do business right. Input, output. There's real tax strategies. Everyone should have a tax pro, a really good one, right? Ask around. Find the ones that have higher net worths and ask them, who's because you want somebody that really understands the tax code and understands the right loopholes, right? There is tax advantages for a reason. And if you do it right, obviously you want to do things right. You're going to win. And then obviously it's a good idea to also have an attorney, so those two people you want on your team right away, and you only pay them when you need them. So that's cool. Right. I do have one other question from YouTube. What about a business partner? I've got a business idea. Is it good to have a business partner? Absolutely. If you need it, like sometimes you do, but I will tell you this is something I learned the hard way years ago. Don't find somebody exactly like you. Find somebody who's going to accommodate you. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, you need someone to be good at the stuff you're not.
Yes.
So then together you guys have a great team.
Yeah, it's okay that you're both entrepreneurs. I mean, you got to be that.
But I don't want look at you and I, for example. Like we're similar in a lot of ways, but we're definitely different in a lot of ways.
Yes, very much so.
And that's what makes a good mix. You don't want someone exactly like you because then you're going to agree with everything. There's never a bad idea.
Right. Or you're going to bump heads. It's like, no, we got to do it my way. You and I gel well. I don't think we've ever had that issue. And you're good with like putting on events and bringing people together and connecting and stuff. That's huge. Like, got to have that. And then mine's more on the tech side and whatever. So to that, Neil, I would say definitely look into partners once again if you need it. If it's something like you're a solo. Oh, and that was another one that actually last week I didn't see. Solopreneurs. Is it possible to have $1 million brand when it's just you? Absolutely. But here's the big but in that. If you want to scale, that's when you're going to want employees. Does that make sense? Everyone starts out small, but if you want to scale, can you become $1 million company? Absolutely. Can you become $100 million company? I think it's possible. I just think it's harder without employees, without a CEO,
Well, I mean, but yeah, by then you're going to be scaling and have more people on your team. You're going to have a team.
Without a doubt. By the way, we're going to bring in some next level people for that because as you do scale, there's knowledge that, you grow. There was somebody that.
But obviously I'll say, make sure you vet them well, do your due diligence. You know what I mean? Like, make sure it's going to be a good mesh 2 years from now. not 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. We've made a couple mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
Yep.
Not to mention maybe here's another one for you, Neil. What if you're not the best idea for a CEO? You know, Russell Brunson always talked about this, that he knew of this other guy. He was the CEO for a while and he was pulling his hair out. A CEO is somebody that knows how to scale a company. They got to be very good at what they do. I would recommend this. Kind of like Jubilant Careers, when it gets to a certain level, what you'd want is somebody that's been in that industry, knows how to bring in new product, new ideas, and knows how to scale the business, knows how to get managers that manage teams. If you're not good at that, then you're going to eventually want to lure in a CEO. So how do you do that? Well, it could be paid, or it could be paid plus a piece of the company.
Right.
You know, I always like that, because when they have skin in the game, it gives them more incentive to really grow that company.
When they have a vested interest, they give a crap.
Yeah, now I'm not the guy, you know, so listen, you're going to want an advisor for that, because I'm big on, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with giving up a percentage of your company. And when you do, it probably means more money, believe it or not. Right? If I was to grow in Bedlacker or Host Fox all by myself, the ones that want to hoard the money, I'll make more money. I'll bet you will make more money joint venture, meaning we're both putting in the effort, than doing it yourself. So remember, you could actually earn more money by JVing. You can earn more money once you have teams and employees and hiring a CEO. You can earn way more money when you're not doing it all yourself. So you got to start thinking that way. Maybe you can't start out that way, but you got to start thinking. By the way, there's a good book, Scale or Fail. Get it. Once you're there, like if you're just starting out, do your thing. Get to that exit level, right? 100,000 plus is a good one, meaning now you can start bringing people in, and then look for a possible partner that's going to help you really build that company, new products, stuff like that. And then eventually, once you hit that 1 million mark or more, you're going to look at growing the company, scaling. That's when that book is really going to come into play. And that's when you're going to want to get those higher level people that's going to help you scale. They can take $1 million company into $100 million company done right. Okay. I know for us, once we hit a certain amount, there's a acquisitions.com, like we're going to have them help us to that larger level. Why? Because they know how to do it. They know how to do it. So already it is Thursday. We're going to go live Wednesday, but daily, watch out for it. You're going to get Biz Morning, which is just quick tips. And it's going to be pretty much on all platforms. So just watch out for that. If you haven't done so, Link Boss is the group, LYNKBOSS. And then our sponsor today is our own product, Embed Blocker, which launched today, which I love. If you're a creator, if you have information that you want to sell, that is an incredible way to start out. And that's how I started. Well, I started out, I formed a company, but what got me online starting was courses. I taught people that were stuck, people that needed knowledge in something I had knowledge in. That would be a great start. If you're interested in that, inside the group, say, I need help, or I want to start a course. Let us know and we'll help you. All right,
exactly.
Everyone have a great one. If you see this on the replay, make sure you #replay. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yep.
Peace.